Welcome back, Hononegah, Algebra 1. Today we're going to do sections 4.4 and 4.5. They kind of go together, so it's an easy one-day lesson here on scatter plots, lines of fit, and then analyzing lines of fit. So here we go. Let's talk about a scatter plot. A scatter plot shows the amounts of time x of hours of 8 students that spend on homework each week and their grade point averages. So what is the GPA of a student who spends 6 hours a week on homework? So I'm looking over here at the graph and I see 6. Instead I go up to the dot on the graph and that's a 2.0 GPA for somebody that's going to spend 6 hours a week on homework. And then how many hours a week does the student who has a 2.75? So I find 2.75 and I look over and I see that, and that's 12 hours a week. So what do we determine based on this little scatter plot is the more time you spend on homework, the higher your GPA is. So more time on homework results in a higher GPA. So just taking information from a scatter plot is the first section we have here. Next, when we have a relationship in a graph, there's what's called a positive correlation, a negative correlation, or no correlation. If you can see a line in there somewhere. Now, this is not a straight line, I understand that, but you can draw a line through that, and it does correlate with the data. As it increases, as y increases, that would be a positive, basically a positive slope. And as it goes downward, this would be a negative slope. Now, if it is all over the place, like there really isn't a line that you can draw in there, we consider that to be no correlation. And for the most part, in what we're going to be talking about will be a positive or negative correlation. No correlation ultimately is there's not much you can do with that data. So in this first one, deciding whether or not it's positive, negative, I'm looking at that data and I see a positive relationship, a positive correlation between those. So the next one, I actually consider this to be no correlation. There really is no line that I can draw in that data that would ultimately go for the entire data. And that was really section 4.4, so there really wasn't much to section 4.4. Here's section 4.5. We're actually going to be making a scatter plot ourselves, so we're going to be given information. We're going to have to plot the points. Decide whether the data can be modeled by a line. So again, decide whether there's a positive, negative, or no correlation. And then we're going to draw a line that closely matches. There should be approximately as many points above the line as below. So when we draw this line, now, this is the caveat that I also ultimately want to talk about the most is because everybody would draw a little bit of a different line each time, when we have this one on a test, we will give you the 2 points that we want you to draw your line through. So understand that just drawing a line in the middle of the data doesn't necessarily, we're going to actually give you the points that we want to use. And then here, now we're going to start using what we learned in section 4.2. Use 2 points of the line to write an equation for the data. And this is referred to as the line of fit or the line of best fit. It's also referred to sometimes as a regression equation. All right, so here we go. I want to plot these. So the X values, we're talking about the salary of 5 architects. Write the equation that models the salaries as the function of the number of the years of experience. Interpret the slope and the y-intercept of the line. Let's first graph it. So our X values we've got, and we're going to go by, let's say we go by 5s here. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 50, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80. So I went by 5s. So 1, 50. 2, 55. 3, 56. 4, 60. And 5, 62. So I'm going to draw a line through the data. So kind of right there. And I'm going to use these 2 points. So I'm going to use the point 255 and 460. And again, on an assessment, we will tell you which 2 points to pick. Now, Write an equation. First, we need to find slope. It's the change in y over the change in x, meaning I take the y values and subtract. I take the x values and subtract, and that would give me my slope. Then, pick a point that you're going to use. So let's say I used the 255. Distribute the slope. And then add. So I get an equation of y equals 5 halves x plus 50. Now, it does say interpret the slope and the y-intercept. What does that mean? Well, what is the slope? It's 5 halves. And what is the y-intercept? Well, it's 0, 50. But more importantly is, what does it represent? Like, what does the 5 halves actually represent? Remember, we're talking about salaries and architects of years of experience. What this means is you will go up $5,000 in salary for every 2 years. And then what does the y-intercept actually stand for? Well, that means basically if you have no experience, the starting salary for an architect is $50,000. So that's what the 0.50 means, that ultimately if I don't have any experience, I'm probably going to get paid $50,000 to start off as an architect. So again, interpreting or understanding what the slope and the y-intercept, especially when you have word problems. The table shows the weekly salaries DVDs of the number of weeks since it was released. Write the equation that models the DVD sales as a function. Now they've done the scatter plot for me, and in the picture they showed me 2 points. So they've given me, this is a little more like what we will give you on a test. We'll probably make you go ahead and make the scatter plot, but we're going to give you the 2 points that we'd like you to use when doing your line of best fit. So now, change in y over the change in x. So you're going to take the y's and subtract, and the x's and subtract, and you're going to get a slope. Then pick one of the points, and it's y minus the y of the point, slope, x minus the x of the point. Distribute and solve. I'm running out of space here, so I'm going to put it all the way over here on the right-hand side. I'm going to add 10. I'm going to get y equals negative 2x plus 20. Now, it does ask me to interpret again. So we're talking about sales of a DVD. So the first, when it's literally released, where our expectation is we'll have $20 million in sales. So it's going to start off with 20 million in sales, because that's the 0, 20. That's the y-intercept. And then the negative 2 is how much it's going to go down each week. Think about this. Now, when something first comes out, everybody wants to go and buy it. And then the longer that it's out, the less people want it, or the less people that need it, because people already bought it. So if I got a slope of negative 2, in this case, we're going to lose $2 million each week. So there's going to be 2 million less each week. Now, use the line of best fit to interpret how much it's going to be for 9 weeks. So what if I put 9 in for, whoops, not that equation, in for x? So y would equal negative 2 times 9 plus 20. So the anticipation on the 9th week would be that it would get 2 million in sales. Now, your homework assignment you'll find in the Google Classroom. I believe it is a worksheet. Not sure on that, but ultimately talk to your teacher. And good luck. If you have any questions, make sure you talk to your teacher.